Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 41 of the Nerdy Things Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kevin. I am joined, as always, by Jules. Hey, Jules.
Heyo.
And by Tim. What's going on, Tim?
Hello, Kevin and Jules. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Guys, this week it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it is.
What do y'all usually
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah,
This
or
episode
well-
is dropping on Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, then
that's cool.
today's Thanksgiving.
Today
Yay.
is Thanksgiving.
What a better way to entertain your Thanksgiving guests than to put the YouTube version of the Nerdy Things podcast on in the background as everybody's eating dinner and whatnot.
Actually,
It's
no,
joyous.
I'm naked this episode, actually, so I don't know.
Is it, so for you guys, is it dinner? Is it lunch? What do you call it? What time do you eat it? What's your favorite foods? Tell me about your
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
it's dinner, and it's definitely in the afternoon. Well, one of them's going to be at 2, the other's going to be at 3. I get 2 dinners.
Dang. Wait, what? How is dinner at 2 and 3? What are you talking
2
about?
families. Wife's
No, I
family,
mean,
my family.
I know, but that's called like a lunch, a late lunch.
No.
That's
Nope.
dinner. All right.
No, it's
well,
dinner.
Then,
It's turkey, stuffing, gravy, potatoes. It's going to be amazing.
well, then what's at 6 or 7? Supper?
no, that's
second
when
dinner?
you roll over and cry.
Oh, okay.
Likely, we're going to go to the movies. So second dinner is going to be popcorn.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Are you a hobbit?
Yeah. Yes.
That's
what
what I
about
thought.
11sies?
Yeah. That's what I
Well, my in-laws live out of town. They were actually I just dropped them off at the airport at 5 too early this morning. So they're gone. So it's just my family for Thanksgiving, and we do. It's weird because it is lunch. Like we eat at 2 or 3 usually, and under any normal circumstances you would call that lunch, but at Thanksgiving apparently you call it dinner. So that's what we do. And I love turkey, but I love dessert, man. Chocolate pie, apple crisp, all that stuff is just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And cranberry sauce. The stuff out of the jar.
Yeah.
I'm not talking cranberries. I don't know who eats real cranberries on Thanksgiving. We're talking the blob of cranberry-ish colored stuff that you just drop out of a can and goes.
Everybody seems to love that, and especially because it has the little divots of where to cut.
Oh, yeah.
Where the
And
can
it's like,
was.
oh, okay, cool. This is where I cut for your slice. This is where I cut for your slice. Yeah. Yeah, definitely for me is a turkey thing, and the rolls are my. Oh my god,
rolls are
I
good.
just
Yeah.
need rolls. Just give me 20 rolls and some
Rolls
turkey.
and a tub of gravy, and I'll be
Yeah,
happy.
sure. So what are you eating today, Thanksgiving? Let us know, tweet us or anything like that at Nerdy Things Pod, at Nerdy Things Pod. Don't forget you can reach us on all the social media, all that stuff. You can email us nerdythingspod@gmail.com. You can visit our website, nerdythingspod.com, for the latest nerdy news updated daily, and links to our merch, which we have shirts that are on. They might be on sale for Black Friday. I think
They
so.
are.
They are going to be on
Yeah.
sale. We have some new holiday merch. We have old merch. I'm going to try and push my creativity to its extent and do a special merch for each episode. And I think it's going to be going up today, but there is a Justice League sort of themed merch that you can get on a shirt, crew neck, on a mug, whatever, but it's going to be something we've talked about before. No more Flashpoint. So if you want the No More Flashpoint shirt or new merch on anything, a hoodie or whatever, go to nerdythingspod.com, click merch, and I'm going to try and do a new a new logo for each episode. So, and as long as y'all like it, as long as y'all are buying it, I'll keep doing it. So go check
Very
that
nice.
out. New merch today, dropping right now. You can go to nerdythingspod.com for links to YouTube, watch the podcast episodes, our Patreon for extra content like bloopers and early access to our stuff. And you can text us or leave us a voicemail at 978-78-NERDY. That's 978-78-63739. I always say that weird. I don't know. I can't get the cadence to that yet. I haven't got that.
Jules is no good with phone numbers.
No. But yeah, we have a lot of people that called in and texted us, which is really cool. Keep doing that because that's super awesome, and we love the interaction. I'm going to read an iTunes review. You can leave us an iTunes review as well and let us know if you like us. Let us know if you don't. Leave us 1 to 5 stars, and it'll help us out. This one's short and sweet from Ginger Ann 1. She says, "Great. New favorite podcast." Well, thank you, Ginger Ann. That was nice of you. We're her new favorite nerdy boys. Hooray.
Was that the whole review?
Yeah, that was it. She just
Yeah,
wanted
I
to let us
appreciate
know.
the enthusiasm, but let's be a little more wordy next time, folks.
So Tim wants a whole paragraph next time. Ginger Ann, delete yours and make a new one. And yeah, thank you and congrats on listening. So, are we gonna do it? No, this week we're talking about Justice League. If you haven't, if this is your first time listening to us or watching us, because you watch us on YouTube as well, we do nerdy news at the beginning, and then later on we get into a main topic, and we're gonna be talking about Justice League.
Justice League. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into the nerdy news.
Nerdy news.
At
Let's get
6
on to
o'clock.
Let's get on. God damn it! I said it one time, and you're never gonna let that go. Let's get on
Nope.
to it.
So I feel a little bad. We missed some news from last week. It was available, I think, when we recorded, and I feel like the worst friend in the world because I didn't bring this up for Tim's sake. Tim, we got a good look at Youngledore last week,
Yes.
I know we did.
and I'm super excited. We also got the title of the upcoming sequel to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's going to be The Crimes of Grindelwald. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how does that make you feel inside?
Well, as a Harry Potter fan, it makes me very excited because I've been waiting a while to see young Dumbledore. What is this going to look like if Jude Law is going to live up to the expectations? Because I think, when we talked about this, back in the day, we were all pretty supportive, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think we all thought Jude Law was a good pick. He was
Yep.
on our kind of
Yeah, he was on the
beforehand
radar. He's
lists
fine.
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think the biggest problem I have is kind of an outward thing. It's called The Crimes of Grindelwald, and there's a lot of controversy around Johnny Depp even returning for that part because there's the crimes of Johnny Depp
Yeah.
that people want to focus on. So
Because of all the stuff
the
that's
title
going on.
is ill-timed, I think, to go with that title. But if I'm somehow erasing that from my emotions, I look at the picture and I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. I mean, Jude Law looks like a good, strong, young Dumbledore, and I'm thinking, in magic, obviously wisdom creates power, but if this guy's got that youthful strength and some of that skill, that's going to be a thing to behold in this movie. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really
so,
cool.
yeah.
So what was released was like an entire picture of all the cast, including the casting characters from the last movie, the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. We saw that it's called Fantastic Beasts, or it's going to be the Fantastic Beasts series. We kind of already knew that, and then it says Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald. And yeah, I totally agree with Tim that the optics on this one is very not the best because of all the things that are going on. And we also see Johnny Depp as his character, and I was more concerned with him and his character, how he looks, because how does spoiler alert for the whole Harry Potter franchise or whatever, how does Dumbledore like that Johnny Depp person? Because they kind of fall in love, ? But whatever. It's cool. We'll see.
Yeah, Johnny Depp looks good. The character looks good. I like the spiky hair.
It's-
Dumbledore in this
He
picture
looks like an
a
ice
gangster
king or
wizard.
something. He looks like
He does. You're
he
right.
should be fucking shooting ice out of his fingers or something. I don't know. I'm not a fan.
It doesn't bother me. It just looks like it's something hip for the time. I don't know, like a little different. This is in the 20s or whatever.
Yeah.
But Dumbledore's got this whole gangster pose going on.
Sure.
He's like leaning back, arms crossed, wand out, like, don't step to me. I'm straight out of Godric's Hollow. Like, back up,
That's a rough
But
part.
Yeah.
I know, right? But is that Ezra Miller in that
It is.
poster as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought he was gone.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
I don't know.
So that's
his
that's
body
an
might have gone.
interesting reveal
Yeah.
to me because I thought he was destroyed.
No, you can't get to destroy Ezra Miller. Come on.
Spoiler alert, he's the Flash. They
Yeah.
just made him really fast.
He went.
Yeah, we get a lot of Ezra Miller talk later.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that was kind of a big thing for me too. I mean, obviously I wanted to see these characters, but like I thought that Obscurus I thought he was destroyed. I thought he was killed. So if he's back, that presents a whole thing. Like what's going to happen there?
Yeah.
Anything.
So it's gonna be pretty cool
Magic.
seeing magic. Probably, yeah. It was pretty cool to see the three. I was gonna say magicians, but they're wizards because you're talking
Yes.
about magic. The three wizards with their wands, and then the other nomads just hanging out there, and it was a pretty nice picture. It was really cool. I wish we got a trailer for it though. That would have been
Soon.
cool, but
That's coming soon because
Yeah.
they just started filming, right? So
Yeah.
cool. But we did
Yeah,
get
so it's coming soon.
another really cool trailer that I have been waiting for, and probably y'all have been waiting for since the beginning of my time. The Incredibles 2 released a trailer, which is more like a teaser. I don't know why everybody's calling it a trailer. It wasn't really a whole lot.
Yeah,
it was
it's a teaser trailer.
Okay.
Teasers are trailers. Just trailers are not all teasers. It's the whole. We'll go over the
the whole thing.
taxonomy of what a trailer is
Yeah.
later. But
Also,
yeah, no, I saw this one. It was amazing. I've been looking forward to The Incredibles as well. I really hope that Frozone found his super suit, and this should be great.
So yeah, this is The Incredibles 2 for all those people that are way too young to know what The Incredibles are, or weren't alive when the first Incredibles came out, because we have been waiting 14 years or something like that for
Has it
a
been
long
that
damn
long?
time.
Oh yeah, that's been that long. But
Yeah,
we've been waiting for that, and it's gonna. Rumors are it's gonna happen right after The Incredibles 1 ended, because we see Jack. Spoiler alert, whatever. We see Jack with all his powers, and he's kind of there with his dad, and he's like, "Oh my God, you have powers!" And it's great, and we're gonna see how that changes everything and what goes on, and I'm super excited. And what do we have? It's the most viewed animated trailer. Everybody is excited. Duh.
Yeah,
It's
and it
ridiculous.
is actually the 7th most viewed trailer ever.
Jesus.
So I mean, people really are going nuts over this.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. I didn't think The Incredibles was all that big a deal. Like this, this is not even on my radar. I didn't watch it. It's not that I don't care. Like I'll see it when it comes out, but it's just like going to be a movie that's there.
You
I'm
haven't-
not really
you haven't
excited
seen
about
The
it.
Incredibles?
And then I read that it's like the most viewed animated trailer ever. I'm like, really?
Oh, yeah.
Incredibles?
This is the
No, people
best
are nuts about
superhero
this.
movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's so good. I don't know. Maybe it was because I was young when it came out. But
Well, the thing I'm worried about is because we talked about it, it's been like 14 years, right?
yeah.
And they say they're going to pick the story up right where it left off. Well, I mean, these characters have aged. What are we going to do about that? How are you going to make them look young again?
what are you talking about?
Tim, it's somebody paused them because it's computer animated, so they paused them right after.
Oh, that's
the other
right.
one.
We
Yeah.
draw these characters. That
Yeah,
kind of stuff doesn't
that's-
matter. That's why Bart Simpson hasn't aged in 40 years. Okay, never mind. Forget it. It was wrong train of thought.
I
Oh,
died.
God, you're the worst.
Oh, God.
Well, you know what, Jules? I think you think this is the best superhero movie ever because you haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp yet.
Oh.
Just wrapped
Mhm.
filming down in Atlanta. So once we see that, your tune will change.
I'm sure. Yeah. After seeing the new, he has a new suit, of course. I think they dropped some pictures of that. We see some of that.
Evangeline Gilly looking jacked as the
Yeah.
Wasp.
Huge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
chick is so huge right now.
Yeah,
like
she
not
is-
huge, is it? She's swole.
She is going to kick
That's
your
swole
ass.
AF.
She's going to kick your ass for calling her a chick. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Dude, she could have kicked my ass when she was in Lost, but
Right.
now she's like
Oh no,
twice
she
as
could always have
jacked.
kicked your ass, but now she's going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you see that. I mean, that's another film I'm kind of excited for. I like the first one. It's pretty funny. I like what's his name? Fucking
Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd. He's
Paul
funny.
Rudd.
He's super cool. I'm down.
Yep.
So the interesting thing with Ant-Man, I was talking with somebody about this last week, and we keep saying like, oh, the Marvel universe has gone in this comedy direction, and it's really cool. You know, Thor was so funny, and it's probably the best Marvel movie ever. And we always harken back to Guardians of the Galaxy for bringing that upon us. But really, it was Ant-Man that was the first one that like hired a comedic actor as their lead and
Yep.
hired a comedic director
Sure.
as their director. So I mean, that was the one that really broke through and gave us that real comedy edge to it. And then
Yep.
they've kind of jumped on from there.
But really-
I enjoyed that one. I
How-
thought it was a pretty good movie.
How much money did Ant-Man make? You know, like I don't see a lot of people saying Ant-Man was their favorite or they loved Ant-Man or something like that. I don't hear a lot of people saying that. So that's
It made enough.
yeah, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. But like, everybody was so quick to jump away from this Ant-Man character and be like, "Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy, super funny." You know what I mean? That's what you're saying. Like, not a lot of people give enough credit, I think, to Ant-Man and what it did. As a
I mean,
movie.
over its lifetime,
519 million US dollars.
yeah,
That's not bad.
So
That's half a billion.
That's money.
yeah, that's
some
worldwide.
money.
180 domestic. It was, opening weekend 57, which now not a great opening weekend, but for that movie,
Sure.
a great opening weekend. Like, that was a sleeper hit. I think that one made a lot more than people thought it would, because it was a good movie that people didn't know what to expect from it. And so when people started seeing it, word of mouth got around, more people started seeing it.
Right.
It's like the opposite of some of the other movies, maybe one of which we'll talk about today.
And that was kind of like their first offshoot movie too, though. Not
Sure.
like a mainline, big time character. I mean, not that many people had heard of Ant-Man, and then you had Doctor Strange after that. So that was the first time they kind of went off the beaten path, I think, with a deep comic book character. Now you've got Black Panther. So again, it was doing some of the things that we're praising them for now first. It was the toe in the water for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So very important for the franchise, the overall franchise, in my opinion.
What else is going on in superhero news?
James Franco being eyed to play Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man, who is one of my favorite B-list heroes
Really?
/ sometimes villains ever. Do you guys know about Multiple Man? Have you ever heard of him? Do you know who he is?
No.
No.
Oh my God.
Give me a synopsis on his character arc, or one of
So,
his character
I'm
arcs.
guessing he's more than one man.
Sort of. He's a guy who can make copies of himself and task them with things. So let's say he wants to learn French, but he also wants to not learn French and just sit on the couch and watch TV. He can make a copy of himself, and one of him will then go and learn French, and the other will sit on the couch and watch TV, and then he can reabsorb that twin
Oh.
and learn French and watch TV. And he
Huh.
can make
That's-
as many copies of himself as he wants. And so
That's the most tremendous use of that power that you
Oh,
could
absolutely.
think of.
But in a fight, sometimes it's because he gets hit that he causes these multiple things. So he can hit himself and create a double, or if he's in a fight and someone hits him, now they're fighting two of him. And
Yeah, see that now that's useful.
Yeah.
The learning French thing, I'm a little on the fence about. But
You can learn all the
Well, no,
languages
that's
at once.
honestly, that's amazing, because you can go and become a doctor and an aerospace engineer and do all this stuff, and then come back and create an Iron Man suit that will heal people, or whatever you want to do.
But do these copies have artificial intelligence? Are they?
They're
part
not
of
even.
him?
They're him. They are him.
They are him. Okay.
It's basically a clone with all of his knowledge. Well,
So
all
then-
of them think that they're the original, because really all of them are.
Oh.
And then they can just go off and live life and then come back in.
Can the clones make clones?
Died.
There's so many
a-
questions.
Yeah,
Jesus.
you punch the other one, it becomes another one. Exactly.
What?
That's exactly it. There could be
Okay.
an infinite number of him. Everyone in the world could be him if they wanted to.
Jeez.
And yet, to feed, it doesn't have to make that. He can go out and get 7 jobs, make 7 paychecks, and then come home and only have to eat 1 meal. Think of all the savings.
Wow. that sounds right up James Franco's alley, though.
Yeah. Oh, I
Something
can't
James
wait. I
Franco
think that's
would
going to
do,
be
yeah.
spectacular.
That's pretty cool. I'm totally down with James Franco. Whatever he's doing right now, totally cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go see The Disaster Artist. They got mad at us because, Kevin, you put on Twitter that there's no good movies other than Star Wars coming out. The Disaster Artist. On Twitter, there was
I stand by that.
Yeah, there was a
I
thing.
do. I stand by that.
There was something on Twitter, and The Disaster Artist is coming out. And I'm definitely excited for that with James Franco and the other Franco and Seth Rogen and a ton of other people. So down with whatever James Franco's doing. Keep it coming.
I'm into all the Franco.
Mhm.
Anything Franco, I'm good with it.
Mhm.
Yeah. We also got a little bit from Lord and Miller this week about why they left Han Solo. I read a big, long article, and what it boiled down to was them just giving fluff as to the fact that there was a breakup. And that, basically,
Oh, no.
people grow apart. And okay, but this is exactly what someone who is dumped will say. They're never going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, no, you're right. I got my ass handed to me.
Yep.
They're going to be like Thor in Ragnarok and say, it was mutual. Jane and I both agreed. No. Nope, I'm calling BS on it. Disney wanted Ronnie, and they got Ronnie. They
Yep.
didn't want Lord and Miller. They dumped him. Sorry guys. I think you're fine. I think you're doing good stuff, I guess. Maybe Clone High is going to be great. I don't know. I haven't watched it,
You'll
but
get back on your feet in a couple months. There's other
Yeah.
fish in the sea. All that good stuff.
yeah, exactly.
I feel like it was kind of a lame answer because it was like they were trying to be funny, but it wasn't funny. So if you're not going to actually be funny with your answer to deflect it, just be honest. Tell us what happened. Give us some dirt, because either way, now it's just boring. Now I don't like you. Now I'm disinterested. Go
No,
away.
Tim, all that is gonna be for the Justice League later, right? What are you talking about? Are you talking about Justice League? Oh, never mind. No? Okay.
We're going to have a very different opinion on Justice League. I'm getting
Really?
the
Oh,
impression. This
God.
will be fun.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy. So Harley Quinn is getting her own animated TV series in the DC digital streaming service.
Yay, more Harley Quinn. And I
Yay,
think it was
more streaming services.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway from this whole story, Kevin. It has nothing to do with Harley Quinn. It was, are you kidding me? Another freaking
See,
streaming service?
That's how they slipped it in. That's how
Right.
the whole
Well, I mean,
everybody.
this is the third series to be slated for this DC streaming service. They're doing a Teen Titans. They're doing some sort of, I forget what the other one was, something else.
Wait, are they
And then this.
another Teen Titans or the one that's already out? Because
No, they're
this
doing a
one's
live
shit.
action Teen Titans.
Okay, cool. Because this one sucks. Bring back the old one.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they're doing that, that's cool. But yeah, that's how they kind of like slipped it in, like more Harley Quinn on the DC digital streaming service. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. But like, I think it even said there was rumors that Poison Ivy was gonna be in there, and it's gonna be like a whole girls thing, and that's super cool. Like, I like that whole story arc with Harley Quinn and all the what are they called? the Gotham City girls or something like that. I forgot what it's called, but there's like a whole
Sure.
thing. There's a whole group of bad women that do a thing. And Margot Robbie, I think, was even maybe going to be in it or maybe be a part of it.
Well, they're
And
going
that's
to
fine.
ask her.
Like, I love Harley Quinn, and I do think that this is going to be spectacular. Like, I want to see a Harley Quinn animated series. I don't want to have to buy DC's streaming service for it, and I think what's going to happen is eventually we are going to hit that saturation point, and all of these streaming services are going to realize that customers are just going to flock to them when a big property hits. They're going to binge the shit out of it, and then a week later, they're not going to see anything. People are going to drop off like they did with CBS and Discovery. As soon as Star Trek Discovery ended, they lost almost all of their subscribers
God.
because the only people subscribing to that were Star Trek fans and old people who don't know any better. And so they've lost all of the Star Trek fans and some of the old people who don't know any better because they accidentally clicked the unsubscribe button. But that's normal.
But guys, DC, I mean, out of all of the organizations out there right now to say, let's launch a streaming service, it's the one that everybody thinks poorly of, more or less. Like, what are they thinking?
They're trying
Yeah.
to make money somehow.
They are. And
With whatever.
DC's
I'm trying to make
animated
money by
universe-
putting my stuff out there for pay that people will barely pay to see in the regular ways. I just released a movie that was the biggest superhero flop of the year, money-wise, but I want to make them pay for things in alternate ways than what they're accustomed to because they'll do that.
I think with people with kids, they'll most likely do that. Like, the kids want to see these characters, and especially with Teen Titans and probably Harley Quinn, because like kids do know what Harley Quinn is, they know what Joker is. So I think the kids will get their parents to get another subscription service. And
Well,
make
it's not
them-
just that, but DC's animated universe is actually pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Like that's where
what
it's
they're
at.
doing right.
So I mean, don't get me wrong, I get it, but still, unless you're pricing this way low, like Disney claims they're going to, this is going to flop because people are going to look at this and say, I really just don't want to have to do this a la carte bullshit to get the things I want, and they're just going to not do it. You can still get this DC animated stuff elsewhere, and I guarantee it's going to show up on DVDs later, so just wait. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, by and large, people I'm talking to that have kids are the few that are not cutting the cable cord. because they need all those cable channels to entertain their
Sure.
children.
Some.
So their kids are seeing stuff there. And now if we're talking about a la carte being $5 for Disney, $5 for DC, $5 for $11 for Netflix, that's adding up in addition to your cable bill. For you and me, this is fine. You know, oh yeah, $5 here, $5 there. We're not paying $100 for just for cable, not talking about internet and all that kind of stuff. But when you're adding that stuff into addition, it's really easy for a parent to go, yeah, they're not going to find out about the Harley Quinn thing anyways. They'll just watch their regular DC stuff, wherever that is, Cartoon
Yeah.
Network or wherever that
Oh yeah,
is.
my sister did the same thing. They cut cable, and their kids don't know any better because they watch Netflix. They're not going to, scream for something else. They're not out there petitioning for Batman. They're just going to watch what's available, and that's it.
Right.
You know?
Plus, you don't see the commercials that tell them to buy their new toys. So even
That's
better.
right. That's exactly right. I can't wait to see the Jake Gyllenhaal Batman toy that's coming, because that'll look awkward. Yeah, apparently there's total speculation, that the studio is eyeing Jake Gyllenhaal to replace Batfleck.
There's been a lot of other rumors or other people talking about who they want as Batman, what's going on there, and there's been pretty weird names that have been thrown out there, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal is probably the one that makes the most sense for a new Batman. I don't know. Would y'all like a Jake Gyllenhaal? I heard like the
Yes.
one that I would not like that people were talking about were like Gerard Butler and some other people.
Oh, please no.
And
We
I'm
don't
like,
need an
no,
old Batman.
right?
We don't even need this old Batman. Like, honestly.
But that's the biggest problem though. If they go Jake Gyllenhaal, and don't get me wrong, I would like a Jake Gyllenhaal Batman. I like him as an actor. I think he'd fit the role. That'd be fine. But we just built a movie around Batman being old. Like a big part of his story in
Oh,
this
yeah.
was that he's kind of getting a little past his prime.
Sure.
And it's a struggle for him, and he needs the help, but he's not used to asking for help, and blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that later. But we were just introduced to a central theme of that character is that he's an older Batman.
But what if he?
Jake Gyllenhaal's too young to play that older Batman.
But what
But
if this
Tim,
one passes
and-
it off? That could be a thing.
I first off, I would love that. I'd love if he was like, hey, you've been Robin for a while, you've been Nightwing for a little while, now you're Batman. That'd be great, but that's
yeah.
not what's going to happen.
Nope.
I think that what they really just need to do is just embrace it. Just say, listen, we're going to just keep doing what we're doing, and just make him Batman and never mention the fact that he was old again. Just, boom, soft reboot. Here you go. No one mentions
God.
it. Do like
No
they
one
did with
talk
Don
about it.
Cheadle and what's his face, Terrence Howard in
Yeah.
Iron Man, and just be like, you look different. Have you been working out? And then move on.
Yeah,
yeah,
have
but there
Ezra Miller say
wasn't
it.
central parts of the character that had to adjust because of the new actor playing that character. I don't know.
I get
This-
it, but DC has already. We're going to get into this in the movie because I got
Sure.
a list, but there's a ton of stuff that they just never are going to get right, and so lean into that. Just say, this is Batman now. Get over it, and you know what? I'll get over it.
I'm the
But
Batman
you got to own
now.
your mistakes. You do. You got to own your mistakes.
Oh man.
No, I won't get over it.
Oh,
Won't
boy.
happen.
Okay, so
All
like,
right.
for the next movie, The Rock, just throw The Rock in there as
Oh, geez.
Batman. Will
No.
you like that,
Jeez.
Tim? You like The Rock,
Yes.
right?
I would like. Well, you know what? We talked
I love
about
The Rock.
We talked about The Rock for the Detective Pikachu film too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. It's
Oh,
not
hey,
gonna be
what
him.
about what's the other wrestler?
John Cena.
John Cena?
Yeah, let's put John Cena in as Batman.
John Cena as
Yeah,
Batman.
and
Actually, that's not
Pikachu
that bad.
for that matter,
Yeah, Pikachu.
and the Pikachu catcher kid.
We'll put Pikachu
Make John
as
Cena
Batman.
everybody.
The Pikachu
There you
catcher kid. Yeah, that one.
You know,
That character.
that
So-
guy.
Justice
Red Hat?
Smith. Justice Smith is going to be in the Pikachu detective film, Detective Pikachu. He's the kid from Paper Towns. I'm upset that he is not going to be The Rock. I'm hoping that they Billy Batson him, and at some point in this movie, he turns,
He turns
into
into The Rock.
The Rock.
They're gonna
that
do.
I would love that.
They're gonna start it off as him 10 years later, whatever.
Yep.
They bring in The Rock. He looks jacked, and it's like whatever. But
There you go. All
yeah,
tatted up.
super cool.
Wasn't
Detective
Paper
Pikachu.
Towns that movie? It was like a teenage movie.
Yeah, it's a John
Yeah.
Green
Like-
book.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Paper
Love
Towns,
John
okay.
Green.
Yeah, I love
There you
it.
go.
I love his stuff. It's great, fantastic. Oh yeah, you read. I forgot.
I read.
But Detective Pikachu, I'm excited. A lot of people were saying some stuff about that new Pokemon movie that came out, and they talk about it on some other podcasts that are Pokemon related that I'm sure we've had on the show before. But that Pikachu talked in the movie that came out. He talked whether it was in Ash's head or not. It was supposed to be ambiguous, but he spoke literal words. And they have
Hello, Ash. It is I,
Oh,
your
no.
faithful steed
It's the-
companion, Pikachu.
It's the greatest thing ever. If you saw the video,
I'll have to find
there's a
this.
viral video of a crowd in the movie theater, and then he talks, and everyone's like, "What? What the fuck?" You know, like it's crazy. It's the greatest thing ever. But
It's like Nibbler from Futurama.
Yeah.
They didn't think he could talk, and then all of a sudden he's like,
Hello, friends.
Pretty
It is
much.
I.
because in one frame he's like Pikachu, and then Ash is like dying or whatever, and then he starts talking, or they start talking, whatever gender Pikachu is, and it's like, oh my god, like what's going on? It's the funniest thing ever. But hopefully he doesn't talk in this one, Detective Pikachu.
yeah,
Hopefully
I
he's
hope
just
not.
leaves it to to his names. Oh well.
Oh, God. I actually heard there's an app
That's a
that can
soundbite.
turn your Alexa or Google Home into a Pikachu.
Oh my god.
I'll
That's
have to
so
post a
good.
video of that later because I'm getting a Google Home as soon as we end this podcast today.
He talks in Smash Brothers. That's all I know.
He says
But
Pikachu.
talks or just says Pikachu.
Pika.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's fine. Any Pokemon can say their name. That's not unusual. Meowth is the only mutant. We're not going to get into this any further.
No. We will not talk about Pokemon anymore.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I know that I love this. I know that Tim loves this. Jules, have you ever watched The Good Place on NBC?
No, I think you've talked about it before.
Yeah, if
What
you're
if-
not watching The Good
yeah.
Place, you're not living life right.
You're failing. The Good Place, Superstore, those are two that you need to watch. It is
Superstore.
spectacular. Superstore, yeah. Superstore is one that you need to be watching if you're not watching it.
No.
But The Good Place, basically, this woman dies. She goes to heaven. She doesn't
Ish.
belong there. And, yeah, well, don't ruin it. And, it's basically just this awesome place that has a bunch of flaws. And there may be her fault. And
It has a bunch of flaws, but one of them is not Ted Danson.
Ted
Because
Danson
Ted
is
Danson is awesome. He is flawless.
Super spectacular. I love that guy. And he's always wearing bow ties. And I
Yep.
can get behind that.
And
Like,
suspenders.
yeah,
Suspenders.
the
Look
suspenders
at me.
and sometimes God. God.
He
But
plays
yeah,
the best character. Oh, that show's so good. Jules, you got to watch that so we can talk about Good
it's
Place
such a
sometime.
happy, wholesome, lighthearted comedy.
It is.
They don't swear. She tries to, but she can't. Like, it's just anybody that
fork.
hasn't watched it, you need to see it. It's no bullshit. It's just
Yeah.
one of the better shows on TV at the moment. It's a half-hour show. You can't beat that.
The movie is the forking shirt. There's no question about it. And it has Kristen Bell. I mean,
Yeah.
Kristen Bell can play anything, and it's going to be amazing.
Anything at all, and she would make it better. Although I gotta say, Janice in this show, whoever plays that, is probably my favorite character.
Yeah, she's really good.
Oh yeah. So Galaxy Quest is another TV show that is coming, and apparently that's going to pick up right where the movie left off, which I'm not sure why that is news, but I put it on here so I could say that because they made a big point of getting all the actors that are still alive back, or as many as they could. Did they think they were rebooting this? I mean, really, you got all the actors from the original movie.
Yeah.
Did you
What-
think you were just going to tell us something else, or was it like, I'm not sure what happened here. This
Well, I
is
think
not
the big thing
news.
is picking up where they left off. This was where I got my whole failed attempt at comedy about The Incredibles earlier. These people are older now. They can't just pick up where it left off. It needs to be fast forwarded 20 years.
And I get that, and I think they're going to do that, but like that's kind of the point, isn't it? You know, like
Well, that's not what I mean when they said pick up where they left off. That's a poor choice of words then.
It
They should have
is.
said we're getting the cast back together and they will pick up 20 years after we last saw them. That's how it should have been phrased in order to quell fan craziness.
yeah, it's going to be a continuation of that story, and I'm just not like maybe give this to someone who understands what getting the original actors means. You know, like hand this over to someone who has the intelligence of someone older than 5 years old, and maybe you'll have a better shot at this. I'm not super like I love Galaxy Quest. I'm one of those people that is an adamant cult follower of Galaxy Quest the movie. I own it on DVD. Yes, I'm old, and
On the
just
DVD.
like I was excited to hear that they were doing something else with it. And now the longer it goes on, like I feel like this is news saturation. We reach a point where I hear so much about it and none of it adds up to anything, and then I just reach a point where I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Is it a TV show?
It's gonna be a
that's what
TV
it's going to be, a
show.
TV show.
Yep.
On what, do we have a network?
It's going to be
CBS.
No, I don't. Is it CBS?
I don't know.
No, it's
TBS.
not CBS. Don't say words, Jules.
NBC.
No, I'm not. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to wind up. To be honest with you,
It better be, I will say, it better be the highest rated thing on TV, because for all of the outcry that Tim Allen fans, because this is Tim Allen, right? Am I
Yeah.
remembering the right one?
yeah, Tim Allen,
Okay.
Sigourney Weaver,
For
Alan
all
Rickman.
of the criticism that I think it was ABC got for dropping Tim Allen's show that I don't even know the name of because of their political views, supposedly.
Was it Last
This
Man
better
Standing?
be be the highest rated thing on TV simply because it has Tim Allen. If all of these people were correct in what they were saying, and that the show was only dropped because of his conservative political reviews.
It's going to be Amazon. Amazon is going to have Galaxy Quest.
Oh, well, that's pointless.
Oh boy, they're trying to
Wow.
get They're trying to get people to watch their stuff. Come on, got to bring Tim
Yeah.
Allen, the amazing,
No.
his amazing Twitter.
Yeah, the great man who everybody is obsessed with right now, Tim Allen. We will all flock to the Amazons to watch Tim Allen perform.
No, just like I don't think anybody's really going to tune into CBS to watch the new Stripes reboot that's coming.
Is Bill Murray
man.
starring? Are we picking up
yeah.
right where the other one left
They're
off?
picking up right where the other one left off. There's
Just don't
no
talk
time
about it.
jump. Yep. Nope. No, it's going to be inspired by that movie.
What does that
Sure,
even
whatever.
mean? Inspired.
I don't
by?
even. But
Oh,
that's exactly the
God.
point. They're just taking the names of these things and just saying, "Well, we're going to do something like that." But they're using the name in the hopes of getting that nostalgia bug
Yeah.
in people's ear, so that they'll watch it. Like this is just going to be a military comedy. There's no reason it has to be called Stripes. There's no reason it has to channel anything from the original. Just give me something good. Just give me something good.
It could be MASH for all
Right.
Right?
we care,
Mash
right?
inspired.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for a MASH reboot, but I think that'll anger more people than it'll help.
You know what would be great if they had said, we have this new TV show, it's called Stripes, and it's inspired by MASH.
Ooh.
We're just going to call it Smash.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
TV shows, TV companies, TV distributors, TV writers.
Oh, they're evil. They're just looking
Just
for money.
listen to the creators of Stranger Things. Just create good shows.
Yes. Or good video games or good whatever. Like EA with their Battlefront 2
God.
hate that we talked about a little bit last week with the microtransactions and the loot crates and the this and the. They've apparently halted all of the in-game microtransactions
Yep.
for this.
Halted.
Halted.
Done.
Put them on pause.
Yep.
Not
Hit
happening
the pause button,
for
just
right
like they
now.
did with the Incredibles. Just put them on pause. There you go. Yeah. So, you know what? There's a lot of speculation about this. I don't think they're getting rid of them. I think they're going to hold off until after Christmas when everybody buys this game for their kids because it's no longer evil. And then all of a sudden they're going to be like, "Oh, look, it's back! Yay!"
Yep.
And now
Microtransactions are a thing. They're not going anywhere for EA.
No, they're not. Although I did read that they were they're now being regarded as gambling in Belgium. So
Oh.
that is official. They're calling on the EU to expand that to other countries too. So
Damn.
we will see what happens with that. But no, I think that this is here to stay because it makes them money, and that's what makes the world go round.
But this is the ultimate bait and switch. If they put this on hold just to ramp up sales again because sales were dropping, slowing down, canceling,
Oh, they
and
were-
then after a couple months they put the microtransactions back in anywhere near what they were originally going to be, everybody who spent $60 on that game should be demanding refunds.
Well, that's the neat thing is there were so many cancellations and sales were so poor that one day after it launched, it was like 30 or 40% off.
Oh,
So
God.
yeah, if anybody actually spent $60 on this game, they're already pissed.
Guess so.
That's
Sorry.
like,
Well,
it's not a
fine.
good,
If you only paid $40, then go ahead, put the microtransactions in. I'm fine with
it's
that.
not a good
You realize it
game.
costs $22,000
Changing my opinion.
to get all of the microtransactions in the game. I think it was.
Really?
Was it 20? Am I inflating that? It might have been 2,200, but it's still
We don't
That's
need
way-
to
that's too much
shitload
money.
of money.
Yeah.
You just
It's
gotta
still a
pick
lot
your
of money.
favorites.
It's not even that easy because it's all random.
Do
So
what
no.
Nintendo is doing, and at least give us like a little caricature of something. Get the amiibos are totally not like, I don't know if they're worth it, but like at least you get like a little caricature with it. I mean, people are spending money
you get
on
a little
amiibos.
statue.
You get a little
You know,
statue.
people would spend $20 on a little statue anyway.
Yeah.
So $20 on a little statue that also makes you invincible in Mario for
Yeah.
5 minutes or
Gives you
whatever
shit.
it does. Great. You know what?
Do
Fine.
that. Do that.
You want to be that stupid? Fine.
I genuinely believe that people buy the amiibos more for the figure itself
Oh, yeah.
than for the actual in-game stuff.
Because it's
I don't
only
like
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 know
this
of
in-game
anybody that
stuff is
uses
the
them in-game.
bonus.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, it's only like a
No,
little
I
bit
agree.
of stuff, right? It's just like one little thing or an extra
Usually.
costume in Mario Odyssey or something.
Well, like whenever they announce amiibos, the first thing I always see is, "Hey, have you seen the new amiibos?"
Oh,
and we don't
yeah.
even know what they do yet, but people get all fired up about the appearance of the
No.
statue. So that's really what they're buying into. And then it's like, "Oh, hey, we found out it does this." Like Kevin said, makes you invincible for 5 minutes, or it gives you 3 extra hearts when you drop it. I mean, yeah, cool, but I got the statue and it's on my bookcase, like Kevin's pop thingies.
Yeah.
Pop
Or you could go
things.
the route of the creators of Minecraft and just make more content for their stuff free. This game is forever old, and
Yeah.
they let fans choose a new
Still in
monster
beta.
for the game. And people chose the monster of the night sky, this flying manta ray thing. That's kind of neat.
I have
you know?
not been in the world of Minecraft in a while, and I just feel like there's so much shit going on everywhere, even without mods or anything like that, that I would just freak out and I would not play the game anymore. You know what I mean? Like I was in pretty much at the beginning and through some iterations of stuff, and I watched some Let's Plays from old versions, but I think if I jump in right now, I'm just going to get like fucking, I don't know, get something and just like, I can't play this game. There's so many things going
yeah.
on, because
No,
they
like,
added so many things.
Elytra with the flying and you're right. It
So
is
many characters,
overwhelming.
different, overwhelming world.
But that is, you know what, I gotta tell you, that is the neat thing about Minecraft, because I go
Yeah.
back to it every once in a while. It's also as simple as you want to make it. You
Sure.
don't have to get into any of that. Maybe there's horses now and there wasn't before, or
Yeah.
there's dogs and I don't know how long you've been out of the game, but
No, yeah.
none of that really matters. You can just kind of build a hole in the ground and put up a torch and stay there forever. if
Yeah,
you
and
want.
still mine and whatever. But
Yeah.
And I think some of the older versions still work. You can still play the old versions or whatever. But I think since Notch left, it's just been kind of different. When he sold his company, but whatever. He's swimming in money.
Yeah, I
It's all
get
good.
that. Yeah, exactly. So the other thing that we needed to talk about this week, the FCC has revealed their plan to shit all over us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it similar to my plan with the
Shitting on the
executives for, what was that decision
Yes.
again? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I was pretty fired up about
I
it.
forgot
though.
about it. But you're shitting
Yeah.
on somebody's desk.
But I still
that's
feel
all I
like
know.
that was something you were doing out of joy, and I'm confused as to why I feel that way. But no, this is definitely something that, I mean, everybody needs to be aware of this, and I'm sure everybody listening to this already knows most of this. But on December 14th, the FCC is going to be holding a vote to kill net neutrality, which is going to give telecoms and broadband providers
Verizon, yeah. All that.
basically carte blanche to do whatever they want with your data, as far as throttling or prioritizing or selling chunks of metered speeds to you and
Sure.
pushing their own bullshit agendas onto you.
Yeah, so for I mean this is something that a lot of people should be worried about or interested in, and I want to make this as accessible to everybody. This is going to control what you do on the internet. This is going to control creatives making anything pretty much, and
Yep.
how you consume your content. So what like Kevin said, they can boost speeds to their websites, to their stuff, make it really fast for you to use a certain service over other services, or even make you or charge you for all your social media stuff a separate charge for your internet or something like that. Or if you want to watch videos, if you want to watch YouTube and all the Vimeo and all that stuff, you're going to have to pay for another separate charge. And there's been a whole lot of stuff coming up, and it's just ridiculous that they want to do that. We got to keep the internet free and the way it is. So definitely call your congressman. You can even go to battleforthenet.com. Battleforthenet.com is something that I always recommend for a lot of people. They have a ton of information on it, and it'll give you the option to call Congress like automatically. Just put in your phone number and you can just call them, and it'll tell you like some things you can say to them. And it's just a whole ton of information. Battleforthenet.com is somewhere that I always tell people.
The internet should just be free. It's an inalienable right, the right to the internet.
Now,
no charges at all.
I mean, it should be like electricity. It should be a reasonable cost. It should be accessible to anybody that wants it. It should be something that is provided to people in special cases of need. Like this is a debate that has been going on, but this is a debate that's going to be settled, much like the microtransaction thing, by money.
Yeah.
They're not, I mean, the politicians, and I'm not restricting this to one party or the other, the politicians involved in this are all in the pocket of these big businesses. This lawyer from Verizon that's running the FCC, who I'm sure is completely neutral in all of this, is just trying to do what he thinks is best for the company that's paying him. It's heartbreaking, and Jules is right. I mean, we need to make sure that we reach out and we flood the phone lines of every representative to make sure that they know where we stand. But the FCC is ignoring all valid forms of argument against this. They're ignoring the 22 million petitions submitted to them. They're citing the provedly, markedly false petitions in the other direction that are against net neutrality, that used the names of people who are deceased, or made up names or made up information, and all contained the same phrases. It was all just like someone who may or may not be Russian putting this out there, and it's proved to be false, and they're not marking it as false.
Yeah, I mean, if we were talking about this 15 years ago, the discussion would be different. The internet back then, it was borderline even back then, but it was a premium. It was something that you could enjoy as an extra. But in this world, in today's age of information and research, and just in school and then in business, you need the internet. Everybody needs the internet. So to your point, Kevin, analogizing it to electricity is very apt. It's something that is essential to what we do in our life, and it should be regulated in terms of the cost and what it can and should cost us. And like you said, it should even be free in certain cases. A low-income family shouldn't be kept behind in school because they don't have the money to gain access to the internet. It should be available to everybody.
And we also see a ton of companies going, pushing for net neutrality, trying to use their voices. You see Netflix posting about it on Twitter. You see it all over the front page of Reddit, and it's fantastic. But we do need more people to be on the correct side for, we probably wouldn't be able to do this podcast. Or if you are a podcast listener, there's a ton of podcasts that might not be able to do it because they might regulate it somehow, maybe make it change the charges of making a podcast, or upload speeds for us to upload the podcast will slow down unless we use a certain service. There's tons of things that we don't know what could happen, which is why it's very scary, because they could do some obnoxious thing to make it so that we can't create stuff. So that kind of sucks.
And the arguments that he is putting forth, that this Paj guy is putting forth, are ignorant. Like, to think that these companies are just going to do what's best for people. They've already proven that they're not going to do that. They've already gone the other direction.
It's ridiculous.
So it's important. This is really important. And I wanted to make sure that we brought this up before we got into the main topic for the week.
Yeah, for sure. Go to battleforthenet.com and it'll give you a ton of information. All that good stuff.
Very
Nerdy
nice.
News is over.
So that it is. It is time to get into the main topic.
Main topic.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Tim.
this week's main topic We're talking about Justice League.
Justice League.
I
Oh
saw
boy,
it.
I saw it was a movie.
It was a
I
movie.
saw it.
It was definitely there.
So we had a ton
After
of.
long last,
Oh God.
after months and months of talk and conjecture, we now finally know what Justice League is. And if Superman is dead or not.
All right, so let's do non spoiler talk a little bit beforehand, so we can get people.
That's
that
why I
haven't
said
seen
it that way.
All right, good.
Yep.
I'm glad. We had a lot of people talking to us, which is really cool. A lot of people sent
Yeah, we
over their
did.
thoughts. We're going to play them a little bit later. A lot of people talked to us over on r/Justice League on Reddit, and Kevin's going to read some of those in a little
Yep.
bit. But
Yeah, I figure we'll do those after we do the non-spoilers, before we get into spoilers.
Sure.
Or just at
Something.
the beginning of spoilers, rather, so that we can play the 2 voice messages, 3 voice messages, whatever we have, and then go over some of the other messages we have from them.
Cool. So, as a movie, Justice League, give some general thoughts. I think for the movie, I'm gonna say that I really went in there with an open mind, and I mean, as usual, I think we all kind of have an open mind, which is really cool because we
Gotta try.
we are fans of certain things, but we do try and give it the benefit of the doubt, which is not what a lot of podcasts do. I'm just gonna say that, and. I went in there really hoping to like this movie, and some of the parts, some of the scenes I really did like. I really love, Wonder Woman, and I really loved Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Sure.
It just wasn't clicking for me for some reasons that we can get into later, but it just wasn't what I wanted in a superhero team up movie.
No, I mean, this was a movie where they're trying to, you see from the commercials that this is Batman trying to get the League together, trying to form this axis of good to stand against some 9-foot-tall villain. And you're right. I think it just kind of fell flat. I think it missed its stride. This movie did have a lot of controversy behind the scenes. Because of how many reshoots there were. Joss Whedon had to step in, take over from Zack Snyder, which was probably a really good thing, but I wish that he had full creative control from the start. Zack Snyder went through a very close-to-home personal tragedy with the loss of his daughter, and just, he had some or most of the movie finished, and Joss Whedon fixed some or most of the movie, and...
Yeah.
You can even see that in the trailers. You really can. Like, the CGI was unfinished in the trailers. I don't
CGI
think
was
CGI was-
unfinished in the movie.
was
I
unfinished
don't
in the
think we
movie.
did much more to it, to be honest with you. But we'll get into some of that. I feel like the story was, even just from the trailers, the story was going to be frenetic because the story in the trailers was just so all over the place.
Well, it was all over the place because they did a typical DC thing where they
Yeah.
wanted to introduce too many characters. We knew a couple of these characters, but there's 3 brand new characters. We still don't know a lot about Batman, this Batman. You know
No.
what I mean? Like, he was
We know
in the
nothing.
Batman v Superman movie, but he only got part of the film.
He was
so we
in
still don't
Suicide
even know.
Squad. Yeah.
Yeah, we still don't know a lot about Batman, but we know nothing about this version of the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. So they're trying to play catch up to Marvel, which is a bad idea, and they're trying to introduce us into too much too quickly, and that was the fundamental flaw
Sure.
in the movie.
And
Yeah.
and
Well,
I
I think that I'm going to differ with you guys because it seems like you guys really didn't like it. Well, I mostly liked it. Question mark?
sure.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. Well, I wanted
So,
to go back
yeah.
to what you were saying about Marvel. I really don't want to compare DC to Marvel, but I think that they are comparing themselves to
Right.
Yeah,
to
you
Marvel,
have to.
and I want to see this as a standalone and sort of as a standalone superhero movie. Even still, it just missed where it was trying to go. It was trying too many different things, had its hand in too many pots, and didn't pull out a whole lot. But yeah,
See, I think it got where it wanted to go. I think the journey to get there was troublesome at times.
sure.
So, but I mean, do we want to get into spoil? What are we going to do here? How are we going to?
So, Tim, do you recommend people go see this movie?
My thoughts on this movie, I recorded a little YouTube thing yesterday, which will hopefully be up later today, called Tim's Movie Minutes. which will be a new thing. And I think my reaction at the end of that was, go see it.
Jules,
Yeah.
do you recommend people go see this movie?
You know, it was interesting. I watch the movies usually the day before we record, in the afternoon on Tuesday, and pretty much that's how I've been watching all the movies on a Tuesday afternoon. And this was the most filled theater that I've ever been in. There was a ton of people at the theater going to see this movie, and it seems
Wow.
like a lot of people really liked this movie for whatever their own reasons. And watching it with the full crowd, I still didn't get that feeling that people should be there. You know what I mean? Like watching it,
Yeah.
the jokes didn't land, the so and so going on. It just, even with a full theater of people, I didn't feel that superhero movie. So I'm gonna say no. I don't think you should.
Okay. So I think that people should see this movie because I want better DC movies. And I think that if we give them some money and give them some criticism, I hope that we can get a better movie out of them.
Sure.
I don't think
Well,
they
we
should
did with
stop
Wonder
making
Woman.
movies. No, you're exactly right. And I want more of that because I think they were working on this movie. I know they were working on this movie well before Wonder Woman
Oh, sure.
was as much of a hit as it was. And so I hope that they take direction from that and we get better movies from here on.
They should
Because
just give
I
the
would be
reins
happy
to
with
Patty
that.
Jenkins.
They should. They're never going to because they hate her,
Yes.
but they should. So that's my. I recommend you see it. Give them some money, even if you just write them a check, just mail it to them. You don't even have to see it. But yeah, that'd be
Care
Venmo
of
be what it
DC
is.
Comics.
Yeah, just send them a Venmo.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that's 2 out of 3 go see. 1 avoid like the plague.
Sure.
But that's it. We're going to get into spoilers now. So if you haven't watched the movie yet, now is your time to click off. All right, that time is over. We're done. I'm sorry. You needed to be quicker. So
Let's start off with talking about some of the things we don't like about it.
All right, you know what? I want to play a voicemail.
Yeah, we're gonna play some voice.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Because we have 3 that I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm gonna play all 3 of
Hold
them.
on, hold on.
I do want to play.
How do you get in this section? If you're wondering, you can call us 978-78-NERDY,
That's right.
978-637-39.
Wow.
You know what? I am gonna play all 3 of them. So the first one. This is from Alan, who Tim and I know from work.
He's a friend from work.
Hey guys, it's Alan, currently known as a spoiler. I am Kevin and Tim's coworker at a furniture store that I
He
work
forgot
at.
your name.
Just wanted to say I really enjoyed last week's podcast. I did have to take a break at the end. Thank you for the non-spoiler alert because I ended up tuning in and catching up to Scary Things. And
Stranger Things.
what an incredible show. But I did want to say I love the chemistry and how Lucas and Max, they ended up becoming a thing, and then Dustin, the jealousy got going on, and how they ended it at the snow. I mean, it's just the character building is just amazing for that show, and how you guys dive right into that show, into each and every episode was actually pretty incredible. So, gotta say, one of the best episodes that I've tuned into. I also want to talk about Justice League that I just finished watching last week. I thought, man, what a lame ending! How that went. That's just pretty bad. I mean, overall, I just felt like Steppenwolf was another Enchantress from Suicide Squad. I mean, this whole portal and CGI effect, and it just felt like it was the same premise. Got to be better than that, and look forward to this week's episode. You guys talking about it. All right, take care. Bye.
So, yeah, a few things. Last episode was really cool. We did a Stranger Things episode. If you haven't listened to that one, go check it out. A really good episode. This one's going to be a really good episode, too. I think we finally hit our stride, episode 40. It's going to be all great episodes from now on, guys.
All uphill from here.
uphill
Wait,
from
I think we hit our stride a long time ago, Jules, but that's just me, my overconfident self. Hey, Alan,
but-
congrats on listening.
Yeah, congrats on listening, Alan. There's a few things that I definitely want to get into. What he said was the whole villain. Why do we need huge CGI
Yep.
fucking villains? We can't get, I don't know. It's just not, no. Like his face was super weird almost the entire time.
Yeah.
It's just like the basic, oh, he's a huge monster. All right.
He looked like a melty Lord Zed from the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
With horns. I mean, honestly, you're right. This was a 9-foot tall guy. I think this movie would have been more powerful if the villain was just a regular looking dude who could just wreck shop. Like, just walk up and, go blow by blow with Superman. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, regular dude
no
with his same weapon. Sure.
Yeah.
Give us a regular dude with that weapon. That would have been cool. And him having
He wasn't
some
very good with his
acrobatics.
weapon, though.
No, he
No.
wasn't.
Like, that's the
He
thing.
was
A regular
swinging
dude that was
wildly.
really good with the weapon would have been fun, but he just, like, flung it around like an ox,
Yeah.
bull in a china shop.
Oh.
He was one of the downsides to this movie, because a good villain you have to, like, really dislike. And they gave us no reason to dislike him.
No.
We didn't know enough about the backstory. We didn't know enough about where he even came from to understand what his motivations were and why we were against him, other than the fact that he used the end of worlds, which is like the stupidest name ever.
Whether we
haven't seen Darkseid. We haven't seen Apocalypse. You're right. We have no idea where this guy is from or what he does. We had a story in this of the last time we fought him and won. There's so many other villains they could have taken that would have been fine. The last guy that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman fought wound up killing Superman. So why is this guy a threat when they bring back Superman and Superman just knocks him around like it's nothing?
Yeah.
That tells me he can't kill Superman.
Nope.
Because the last guy could. Unless
Well, I mean, he probably
Superman's
could have
more
killed Superman if
powerful.
he was better with his axe hatchet thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, and he had more of those things, whatever they were called, because I forgot. Because I really don't care.
Parademons?
More parademons. If he would have unleashed more of those, probably. But yeah, it was just super clunky. And like we said, I mean, to DC fans, for them, they do know. And if you know the backstory in the comics, you do know who this guy is. You do know that he's kind of a shit, and he's kind of a force to be reckoned with. But I always like to go in as a fresh mind, as someone that hasn't seen it, as I'm going to pretend like my kid dragged me to this movie, and what is this, whatever, what's a Superman, whatever. But they didn't give us enough in the movie to, whether they cut it or not, they just didn't give us enough for me to care why. I don't even know why he was doing it. Why
Right,
are you
what was the
doing this,
motivation? We don't understand the motivation. And that's the thing, like, you hit the nail on the head, Jules. We're going to go back to comparing to Marvel, because this is essentially what happens. But Marvel didn't make billions of dollars a movie by getting hardcore comic book fans to come to the theaters.
No.
Right.
That's not how they made billions of dollars.
No.
They made billions of dollars by getting everybody to want to go to theaters. So you have to introduce these characters with the assumption that the audience doesn't know who they are. This is like high school essay writing 101. Pretend I haven't read the book. Yeah, because I haven't read the book. I don't know. So you have to tell me why I hate this guy in order for me to hate this guy.
Sure.
And it was a hollow character. And again, like, come on, the ender of worlds. Like, what does this guy do? He ends worlds. Oh, he's the ender of worlds. This is the stupidest, and he proclaims it like it's this great thing. I am the ender of worlds. Like,
No, you were
come
the
on.
ender of worlds. Then you got your ass handed to you, and it's been what? Like a million years, and no one's seen you because you've been hiding or
This was his
dead?
failed comeback tour. Didn't really
Right.
work out.
And you came back because the mother boxes called you because Superman was dead. You know they could have called you before he even got here, right? It's been so many years where the Earth was without a protector. At any point, you could have shown up. And in fact, you really could have shown up at any point prior to this and just walked into the woods where apparently the humans hid their mother box. Because that'll stop them. We're just gonna dig a little tiny hole in the middle of this woods where we're then gonna put London, and it's fine. No one will ever find it.
In secret, by the way, with
In
the
secret.
10 people
With
standing
10
around
people
there.
that
Honest to
know,
God. When they said in secret, I hoped we were gonna see a bloodshed and one guy standing that then killed himself, because that is the only way to keep it
Sure.
secret.
Yeah, that would have been
Honest
better.
to God.
I would have been.
Or to
happy
have
with
one of
that.
the gods bury it or something. I don't know, like somebody
Yeah.
outside of the humans. But
Or I don't know, maybe to have it go anywhere but Earth. You have these
Sure.
three things that when brought together will destroy it. Have one of the gods take it to Olympus, or throw it in the sun,
Yeah.
or take it to Oa, because we saw the Green Lanterns were there. Like, get rid of it. Just keep these things apart forever. No, we're just, we're just going to dig a hole. It's not even that deep. Like, this was, a 4-foot hole.
I think
Like, this wasn't even a grave. This was just like,
No.
hey, we found this hole already.
Superman
Let's
was
put it in
buried
there and throw
deeper.
some leaves over
Yeah.
it.
right.
But
But Kevin, you mentioned another thing while you were talking there, and it was that this, we just had Superman. We just accepted Superman, really, like just barely, and now the Earth mourns for him, and that this is what sends the world into a tailspin. And the thing that kind of made me laugh is the way that they illustrate this. So Superman dies, and all of a sudden, white shaved head punks go kick fruit boxes.
Oh man, that was
and
the
assault
best.
and
I was
assault
like,
Middle Eastern shop owners. Like,
Yeah.
The
oh,
world's
Superman's
going
not here
crazy.
anymore, because that's what Superman was looking out for anyways, right? He was looking out for skinheads that were kicking over boxes of
Yeah.
peaches.
No.
This is the illustration of how
Right.
the world is tumbled. Just this white punk going, kick this peach box. What? Middle Eastern
Yeah.
woman? I'm gonna step to you, and then the
Yeah.
police is gonna grab me. Ooh, I'm bad. Like, what the heck was all that?
That was
Spoiler
in
alert:
slow-mo.
the world is like that now.
Yeah.
like
Right?
This is the world we live in.
Sans
Exactly.
slow motion capture of that. But yeah, it was it was definitely super hilarious to watch the world spiral in the small town of Metropolis. Let's get into another voicemail if you have another
Here we
one pulled
go.
up.
This one is Andre from Backseat Directors.
Oh, hey.
What's up, gentlemen of the Nerdy Things podcast? What's up, gentlemen of the Nerdy Things podcast? This is Andre Hudson from Backseat Directors. Hey, just wanted to call and leave you guys a quick voicemail about my thoughts on Justice League. So real quick, I actually really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a highly entertaining movie, and just my quick highlights are, one, I don't think DC or Warner Brothers could be able to cast a better crew of actors for these superheroes. From Gal Gadot to Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I mean, these actors are so perfect for their characters. And even though it took me some time to warm up to Ben Affleck as Batman, I have really enjoyed him as Batman. And yeah, it was just really awesome seeing all of them come together. However, much as I enjoyed this movie, I know it is not a great film. Extremely messy, poorly edited, very rushed to get this movie out on its due date with too many reshoots. I think this movie will benefit greatly from an Ultimate Edition, just like Batman v Superman. I'm always going to think what could have been had Zack Snyder, not gone through the tragedy that he went through with his family. And but yeah, you know what? We got what we got. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll check you guys next time. See ya.
Very
Awesome.
cool. That was from the Backstreet Directors. They have a cool podcast. Go check them out as well. So he did mention a few things that he did find it entertaining, and he mentioned a lot about these cast of characters. I kind of want to get into that. What I definitely do agree that the characters, as little or as much as we know, the cast was phenomenal for this, and I just love Wonder Woman, and it was just, I don't know, super fun to just watch them. So that was the one entertaining part for me, was just seeing them all and getting another Wonder Woman movie with the Flash.
She's great. Gal Gadot's a great actress. She is a great Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman is a great character. The camera loved her ass. And it just
That's what I'm saying. I
was-
put it on Twitter. I was like, why
Yeah.
is there so much butt in this movie?
I
Not
thought
just
the same
hers,
thing.
but
It
Ezra
lingered too
Miller.
long.
Yeah, I was
It's
like,
Zack Snyder, man.
because that was him. Yeah, definitely. That's why I was
Yeah.
like, they didn't do it in Wonder Woman because it was a woman, and she
Right.
knows angles, but they showed angles of her like
Right.
upskirt and stuff like that.
Oh
I'm
no,
like,
exactly.
oh,
Especially
God.
when they were down in the tunnel and they're all
Yes.
jumping off of the Nightcrawler, and it was just like, oh my god, that skirt is shorter than it was,
Yeah.
and there's nothing underneath it,
Super
and then it just
not-
lingered there, and god, and
Even when she was walking down the street to meet Cyborg.
Oh yeah, so
It's
much
like
butt.
the camera angles when she was walking to a character were always ground level.
Yeah.
And it was noticeable and perturbing to me.
Not-
because
not
Gal
okay.
Gadot's a beautiful woman,
Sure.
no question, but also in her like expressions and her personality, not just in her
but
butt,
she's beautiful
you know?
no matter what she's wearing and no matter how much of her skin is showing.
Right, exactly.
You know, that none of that. I mean, it doesn't need to be the focus.
Right.
And the same as with the Amazons. When we see the Steppenwolf show up to get the mother box from the Amazons, why are they all wearing armor that just covers their lady bits?
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's literally it. Like they
So
had
stupid.
boots and bikinis and tiaras, and that was the majority of them. There were a couple that were more heavily
Yeah,
armored,
but
Right.
but now it looks
most
like
of them
that
were
picture
just in
yeah.
summer armor.
In their summer armor, yeah.
Summer armor.
It does show that that picture that we saw was very true. That
Yeah.
I did notice there was a lot more uncovered than covered Amazonians, and that was pretty ridiculous. But that's a whole thing that we can get into later. But
But-
as the characters, for the characters and the cast, I really enjoyed that part. And with or without his mustache, he's still a great Superman for me. I don't know. He's
He
just
is.
the guy.
He has the look. He has that, like, I don't know, saccharine sweet charm, that whatever for most of it, although it was a little weird for me in this movie. I thought Ezra Miller was spectacular.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
afraid I was going to hate him. I
No.
really was.
Now I'm really
Uh,
excited
ha-
for a Flash movie.
Hashtag Grant Gustin is my Flash. But Ezra Miller was great. Like, I feel like there were a couple of missed opportunities with this, and the character development wasn't what it needed to be. And I'll talk more about that later. I don't want to get into it right this second. But Ezra Miller was naturally funny, and he was one of the only naturally funny parts of this movie.
Agreed.
No.
So the characters, for me, this was one of the, again, the fundamental flaws in the film was by the end of to start with, I only cared what happened to Superman and Wonder Woman. Like,
Okay.
outside of that, I could care less about these characters because I don't know them. I
Right.
know what Wonder Woman's been through. I know the sacrifices. I know the hurt. Same thing with Superman. I mean, obviously he was dead to start with, but like I know what his motivations are. He came. Batman says it. He came to this earth. He lived as a human. He fell in love. He did all of the human things, and I care about them. I don't know what Batman's been through. I know his parents died, but there's obviously other things that have caused him to get to where he's at. But I don't know what they are. They keep hinting at them, and I don't know what they are, so it's hard for me to really get into why he is the way he is. I know next to nothing about Cyborg, and I know nothing about Aquaman. Zero. So that guy may have been a great actor and well fit for the part. I don't give two craps about him by the end. That guy could have killed him, and I wouldn't have cared. Ezra Miller was the only person who broke through. And I don't know if it was just because he played the part so well, or if that character is just so innately human and so flawed outside of the fact that he can move fast that I kind of empathized with him more quickly.
You know
but
what?
by the end, it was
Exactly.
really three people that I cared about, and that was it.
Sure.
Tim.
Go.
You have just made a point that I made on Reddit with someone. I actually got into a fight with someone over DC.
Oh God.
Because they were talking about how DC has finally made a movie that is relatable in ways that Marvel isn't. And I was like, no, you're wrong, and here's why. Because if you look at the Justice League, you have a millionaire, billionaire, playboy superhero who I can't relate to because I'm poor. You have an alien from another planet. You have a literal female god. You have a fish person who can talk to fish sticks and is the prince of Atlantis who has lived separate from most of humanity because he's weird. And then you have Cyborg, who's a literal part robot who just doesn't know his own motivations. And then the Flash. The Flash is the only one I can relate to. He is just a dude who can run fast, and he's super anxious. Well, guess what?
Same.
I'm I can't run that fast. I'm fat, but I get that. Like, that's the only character of these six that I can relate to.
Yeah.
And they made great conversations that brought you into that character too. They really did, like the whole conversation about brunch and essentially his ADD and his social anxiety. Like all of that just immediately humanized him. It didn't take long. It was just they separated him with another character. Like we talked about this with Stranger Things last week. They separated characters, in a pair. They had a normal, everyday human conversation, and guess what? I learned something about that person, and I came to like them and empathize with the struggles, and then say, well, it's really cool. At least he's got this fast thing going for him because, not much else is working in his life, so
Yeah.
this is cool,
Well, even just when they went to save Cyborg's dad, and they're about to meet Steppenwolf, and Flash pulls Batman aside and is like, "I've never fought anyone. I just push people and run away."
I've never done battle.
It's
my favorite quote.
Seriously, it was amazing. And then Batman's just like, "Save one person, and then you'll know what to do." Okay, it would have taken you less time to say, then just do that again. But
Right.
And then he does, and he saves one person, and you can see on his face this moment of realization where he's like, "Whoa, I did that." And then he's
Yeah.
like, and then he runs off and grabs another person. Like, that's
Like,
Yeah.
this is my purpose. I finally
It's
found
growth.
it.
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
I don't know why he had the Flash super suit when he wasn't a superhero prior to this.
He made it.
They made, but why?
I
So
know,
they,
right?
they made a big point of Batman having trouble finding him because he wasn't superheroing. He was just a dude. They had video footage of him in a shop without a costume, and because of that, Batman was on his trail. But that was it. We never saw footage of a red blur. We never saw headlines of him saving anyone. He doesn't have the name Flash. They never call him Flash.
No.
He isn't the Flash. He's Barry Allen, dude who runs too fast.
Maybe
who-
maybe we'll see it in whatever's coming next. Probably the
But
Flash.
why?
thing.
Why did he have the suit? Like,
Yeah.
he's poor. Where did he get the money?
Stole it.
He's.
Just kidding.
But I mean, honestly,
Yeah, I
like,
know- I know
feel
what you
like
mean.
that was a whole missed thing. Like,
For
I
sure.
feel like that was probably cut.
That might be, yeah, definitely in the extended stuff, because I did hear that they cut a lot of stuff because it wasn't
Oh, yeah.
CGI ready, or whatever reason they wanted to keep it under 2 hours. I know we said that too. But going back to the whole superhero talk again, I think they rely again too much on you knowing about the characters and you knowing
Yep.
about the backstory. With old Batman, you're expected to know, oh, this is old Batman, whatever, quote unquote, that means to you. You're supposed to know that he's been through all this shit, all this other stuff's already gone on, and he's been through all this stuff. They're not going to spend time developing and telling you the stories that he's done, but they're just going to expect you to know
Right.
what old Batman's done, and that's
Well,
not
they hint
okay.
at it.
They hint
Like-
at,
At least
at
it
some of
isn't
the stuff,
exploding wind-up penguins.
Yeah, it's like,
But yeah, well,
okay.
Alfred says that, but he also consistently talks about why he should get a girl. So we know that there's
Yep.
been something there. And they
Yeah.
say, we've been doing this for 20 years, so that gives you a little, context. But it really isn't until very late in the movie where he goes back into that room and he's trying to take off his bat suit and trying to pop in his shoulder, and you see the bruises, and you're like, crap, this is a guy. This
Yeah.
is a middle-aged-ish guy who works really hard, doesn't want to admit that, he needs the help that he needs, and he's finally in a position where he needs it. And it's really difficult for him to go there with people. And then Wonder Woman, being this tremendous character that we were introduced to in a movie who has a great empathy for human emotion, she pops his shoulder back in and starts relating to him. And that's a powerful scene. And that's when I first really started to care a little bit about Batman, because I'm like, oh man, he's just a dude
Yeah.
that doesn't want to admit that he needs help.
For
So
sure.
I'm starting to get there with Batman. But again, it comes from just a conversation. Just spend a little time
Yeah.
with these
Yeah.
characters. Just a little time telling me about them.
And
Human
I'm
gonna-
ways.
I'm gonna guess that was a Joss Whedon scene.
Probably.
Because
Sure.
that was a scene where Wonder Woman walks in on a half-naked Batman, and that was one of the only scenes in the movie where she had a scarf/cape
Oh, yeah. She had a-
covering
Yeah, good
her
point.
chest.
Good point.
Like she wasn't flaunting her body for some reason for the
Yeah.
camera.
That
And I
scene could be
appreciated that.
completely taken off, and it could be
Yeah.
a scene on its own. They drank a little bit, and it was like that wasn't necessary, but it was necessary for the movie that we were trying to watch. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that does
You know.
count, I think, as a reshoot maybe. But as far as Aquaman, another one. I mean, Tim also said a bunch of stuff about the characters that I totally agree with. But yeah, looking at it from a person just coming into the movie, I still don't know what he does. What does he do? What's his
No.
power? Does he, like Batman said, so do you talk to fish or the tides or whatever? But yeah, do you have another voicemail that we have?
I do.
Let's-
This is the final voicemail.
let's listen to
let's
it.
give it a shot. Oh, come on.
I always wanted to talk about Justice League. This is at Nerd Girls for Life. And Justice League, I thought, was super fun. It was great. It was a great popcorn movie. It was like watching a live-action episode of, like, Justice League Unlimited. There were obviously problems with it because they basically took Justice League 1 and 2 Cuisinarted it into one, mega, film. But it was fun. And I don't know that people knew how to react to a fun Justice League, but I think anybody who sees it will enjoy it, and just be like, if you go in, basically just go, hey, so I'm here to have fun. Justice League's perfect for that.
So the thing that she kept going back on, it was fun. Again, thank you to everybody that called in. And if you want to
Yeah,
call in
awesome.
for our next thing, we always post about it on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. at Nerdy Things Pod, and the phone number is 978-78-NERDY, 978-786-3739. So she said fun, and it was fun. It was a good popcorn movie. It was fun. It was not funny until
No,
later
it
on.
tried to
In
be.
the beginning,
Yes.
the first act, I did not
God.
laugh a single moment. They
No.
tried so hard. They pushed these whatever funny moments or quips or little things in, and for the first act, I did not laugh. I did not laugh until Barry Allen came in. It was
Yeah,
so
right.
cringy, and to watch it with a full theater, it was ridiculous that nobody laughed, and I can see, I was just like, oh my god, this is not funny. And a lot of people, a lot of DC fans are blaming Joss Whedon for this script. And I'm saying, no, I'm looking at you podcasters that are DC fans, because I tried this week to listen to other people's podcasts that I knew were DC fans over Marvel, and they keep complaining and they keep blaming Joss Whedon for the remarks and the script and the dialogue. This is so Joss Whedon of him.
He wasn't even
to talk.
credited
No,
for the script.
He was uncredited for everything.
Right.
And I was like, oh my god, it made me so mad, and I'm definitely gonna write into a few podcasts. But why are you complaining about this director for maybe making some reshoots? Yes, that was a whole thing, because he tried to make it tangible for anybody, and they're pushing for
Palatable, yeah.
palatable. They're pushing for a Zack Snyder uncut version of it, and I doubt you're gonna like that. But it wasn't all him, and really that was there before he got there, because you can't reshoot a whole first act. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
No, I think people have forgotten Zack Snyder's last couple of movies too. They were not good.
no, I looked
Well,
through his.
is this better than
discography.
Batman versus Superman?
This is
Yes,
different than
I
Batman
think
versus
so.
Superman. I'd say it's better.
It's a
I'd
better
say it
movie, in my
made
opinion,
more
right?
Sense. It still didn't make sense, but it made more sense.
It's a better. I think overall, it's hard to argue that it was a better movie than Batman Superman.
Yeah.
And that was Snyder, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No,
I mean,
I
if
looked
Joss
through-
Whedon came in and affected this at all, do you think it made it better or worse?
Yeah.
This movie was
No, I think it made
better
it
than the
better.
previous
Yeah.
effort.
No, I looked through
with
the
a lot
Zack
of the same
Snyder
characters.
filmography, and I was like, I'm not a fan of most of his movies.
Nope.
I'm a fan of Joss Whedon's movies. I looked at what he's directed. I looked at what Zack Snyder's directed, and I'm like, maybe 300 was good, but still you can say it was kind of boring, like these two movies were. There was a lot of dialogue and things like that, but I'm a bigger fan of Joss Whedon than what Zack Snyder has been putting out, and
Oh, for sure.
that's definitely not a Joss Whedon problem, and I don't know.
Well, talking about the comedy, Jules, most of it was just ill-timed.
Sure.
They had a real timing issue, because I found myself, like, they would make a joke. I'm doing air quotes for you YouTube watchers. They'd make a joke, and then I'd, like, 10 seconds later, I'd be like, oh, wait, that was a joke.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that the joke maybe wasn't even funny. It's just that I didn't know that a joke was happening when it was happening. So part of that was the chemistry with the characters, and part of it is what they consistently did was had serious moments with serious actors playing a serious part, throwing in a quip in a serious tone. Like,
Yeah.
there was no lightheartedness to prepare
No.
me for a joke. And the biggest culprit, Jeremy Irons as Alfred, is horrific. Horrific. There's no other words for me to use here than horrific.
boy.
He has zero charisma. Like, Alfred's supposed to be this older guy who throws in funny little jokes, and every other Alfred I've seen does that really well.
Yep.
And in this role, when he's interacting with Batman, he's non-existent. Like, when they're face to face, like, there's just no chemistry between them. But then oftentimes when Batman is elsewhere, he almost plays the Iron Man's Jarvis character.
pretty much.
Essentially just the voice in the ear, you know what I mean? And Jarvis is so funny, played by Paul Bettany. Jeremy Irons, I'm like, oh, that was a joke. That was supposed to be a joke? I couldn't tell. Like,
At least
you weren't
smile while you
making
say it.
a joke.
Jesus.
Yeah, but even when you're not looking at him, when Paul Bettany used to make jokes to Iron Man, you knew they were jokes, and you were prepared for them, and you laughed for them, and they were sarcastic, witty, and funny. This is the same character done as poorly as you can do it. So part of the humor issue was just that Jeremy Irons is an awful Alfred.
Well, also the pratfall at the beginning. So the movie opens with a criminal coming out of a big mansion in Gotham and looks over. He's got the sack with the dollar signs on it on his back, and he sees Batman, turns his back, drops the bag, pulls a gun, and starts shooting in a really funny way. And then Batman swoops around a water tower. Guy shoots the water tower and sprays himself in the face with water.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt forced, and
Weird.
it just felt unnatural, and felt like that would have been really funny back in the 1930s. And that would have been really funny in a Roger Rabbit Batman movie back in, like, the 80s or 90s. But it was really out of place in this movie. And the humor is fine. The humor is great. This wasn't a lighter, humorous movie. This was a dark movie that they tried to shoehorn humor into, in my opinion. And I feel like you don't have to do that. If you want to have humor, great. That's fine. But it should be part of the script naturally, or it should work its way in naturally. Like, I would not say Captain America is a funny movie, but Captain America has some really funny parts to it.
Sure.
And I don't think that the original, and by that I mean the Christian Bale Batman movies, are funny movies. I feel like they had some situations in them that were humorous, but that showed that you can have a really good movie that has a dark premise.
Oh, those were dark movies, and that's
Those
when
were
I think
3 dark
DC. I think
movies.
dark movies, and I think that's in my mind, and maybe this is different in the comics. What separates DC from Marvel is that they are darker, by and large, darker characters.
Yeah.
At least the way that I've always seen them on film,
Sure.
and for Batman, that's always worked.
Yeah.
Right.
That's almost always worked. I mean, when you did the first couple of Batman movies in the 90s, they were dark and gritty and great. And when you did the 3 in the 2000s with Christian Bale, they were dark and gritty and great. And they're copycatting is what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
And pretty much all
and
the-
Ezra Miller nails it. The
Yeah.
Flash is a funny character, but it's because he makes the scenes lighthearted. I know the jokes are coming. I'm ready for them.
Right.
They're not trying to sneak them by me, and so I miss them. Like I'm ready for the joke. The joke's there, and it's funny, and it lands, and he trips and stuff, and it's cool.
Yeah, even his like facial expressions or anything that he does non-dialogue, that's super funny and interesting.
Right.
I think that's definitely definitely the standout character for this movie for me especially.
Even knowing the joke was coming on the rooftop when everybody else disappeared and left the Flash with Gordon, Commissioner Gordon there. Even knowing that happened, even having that ruined for me by the trailers, I still laughed my ass off.
Yeah.
Because
of
it
him.
was still funny, and
Yeah.
it really was him. He carried that,
And
he's a better
yeah.
actor than I have ever given him credit for.
I don't
no,
know
his
him
stuff is
outside
great.
of
No.
Fantastic Beasts.
No, I mean,
what else
I've
has he
seen
done
him in
in?
one or two other things.
he's been
Yeah.
in
But-
Perks of Being a Wallflower. He's done a ton
Yeah.
of stuff. He's really good looking, and God, Jesus Christ, it's great.
So Jules has a crush.
I do
boy.
have a man crush on Ezra Miller.
He was in
beautiful.
Perks of a Wallflower.
Yeah, Perks
Yeah.
of Being a Wallflower. He had long hair, I think.
Oh, all right. I don't know.
But yeah, I think that was one of his first roles as like a serious sort of actor. But again, talking about it in acts, it doesn't really kick in until, like we're saying, Barry Allen gets there and he's the comic relief. But like, before then, when Batman's trying to get all the characters together, get the gang back together or whatever for the first time, and they're showing a bunch of stuff and these characters are delivering funny lines but with serious tones, and it just doesn't add up. So that's why it was just super cringy, and it doesn't get funny until Barry Allen shows up, and then from then on there's some scenes that were super funny, like what do you do, or what's your superpower, and he just says I'm rich, and that's definitely was just Ezra Miller bringing that, and Batman still being that guy that we know and love ? But as far as like DC and Marvel, I do have to admit, I don't know if I've said it, but I do love DC characters more than I
Yep.
do Marvel characters. Like that was
Yep.
DC, whether I knew it or not, was what I sort of grew up with, and I did want to see these characters team up live action, and I was definitely disappointed. So we're not all just like Marvel fanboys, you know what I mean? Because a lot of these DC people are saying, oh, just the Marvel lovers, they don't know what a good movie is, because Batman vs. Superman was the best movie ever made. Man of Steel was the best movie ever made. And I'm like, no, It wasn't. I don't know what you're I don't know what you're seeing. It's all nostalgia. Like, I had nostalgia as well. I watched the Batman early animated series, like, when I was a kid.
Yep.
I love that stuff. I love Batman Beyond. I love all that stuff. And I can tell that me liking this movie would only be nostalgia. I would only like this movie because of the nostalgia factor, and I can see beyond that and say this movie was shit. And it wasn't that
Well,
great.
hey, I wasn't a comic book guy growing up. I didn't watch the comic cartoons, like nothing. I'm a movie guy. That's
Okay.
that's how I'm introduced to comics. And I've always loved the Batman movies. I mean, outside of the Schwarzenegger, Clooney ones and that kind of thing. But
That was the best ones.
yeah, right. No, I mean, the first Batman movies were, when I was younger, were great. And then I'm a huge Christian Bale fan. And I thought those were some of the best movies of that
Yes.
time. Like, those years, those were some of the best movies of the years, those Batman movies. And then all of a sudden Marvel came in with Iron Man, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And I've become a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not a Marvel fanboy. I just think everything they've done has been pretty fantastic. And I also loved Man of Steel. I'm one of the people that love that movie. I like Superman. I love Superman. I think Superman's a fantastic character. I love the whole alien becoming human dynamic. And I love the way Henry Cavill plays him. So, you know, I'm not a person who has like a side on this. I just see that more often than not, DC makes bad choices and Marvel makes good choices. And part of that is because Marvel kind of did this thing first and DC decided they needed to catch up, when instead they could have just planted their seeds and then eventually they would have gotten where they wanted to get to, and probably with better footing and a bigger fan base.
So here's the thing. I posted into the Justice League subreddit that I wanted people's opinions. I got 6 responses, and all of them said basically the same thing. I'm going to paraphrase a couple of them. We had one from someone, Sane, SAYNE 1337. He said he really enjoyed the movie, but it did feel a bit short. He went in with a few people, and none of them noticed that Superman's mustache was CGI. He did, but mainly because he knew. And, you know, like, that's not a glowing review. You know, Defense Counsel said that they genuinely liked the movie. Some of the CGI was not good, and Steppenwolf is a weak choice for an antagonist. There's no complexity. He doesn't have any powers. He's boring. He does the same thing that everyone complains about Marvel movies doing. You have a villain, and then you have a bunch of faceless guys that the good guys have to fight. There's nothing to that. There's a million different Justice League enemies they could have used, and he lists a bunch of them, or they list a bunch of them. You know, that's 100% right. There's a million other ways they could have done this. And then we had one that was, Lonesome Ninja. It felt light on material and plot to me. Yeah, it did, because it was a 3-hour and 40-minute movie that was cut down to 2 hours. There are so many scenes in the trailers that got cut out that weren't in the movie, like Cyborg playing football, not in the movie. You have, I'm trying to remember some of the others. I thought there was an Aquaman one that was cut, but Alan set me straight. I don't remember the scene where Aquaman threw a guy down on the table in the bar and said the round's on him, but I guess I must have been in the bathroom or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but there was a couple of others where it's like, this just wasn't in the movie at all. Oh, the scene where Alfred encounters someone in the woods or wherever it was and says, he said you'd come. Was that Green Lantern? Was that Superman? Was that... I don't know. Like, so much of this was just rearranged and cut out that I can't tell you what happened.
Nope.
You know, not good. But out of 6 replies in the Justice League subreddit, not one of them was like, this was the best movie I've ever seen. Not one of them was even like, it was a good movie.
Well,
So-
hey, this has been dark. Most of our stuff has been complaining, and I said I liked it, question mark.
Yeah.
So what did I like about it?
Tell us.
What
The
did you
first
like
half...
about it?
The first half was like Whiplash. I was going back and forth between stories. I wasn't really invested in the characters. But once we got The Flash, it became lighter and funnier, which I enjoy. Maybe it's just my preference in superhero movies, but I got some stuff to laugh at. He broke the ice between characters, became a common connection between them. And then they decided they want to bring Superman back, and I love Superman. So bringing Superman back was great. And I liked the way that they did it. Because, you know, when you reanimate someone, there's always problems, and it's unpredictable, so you don't know what it's going to be. And obviously he's having some confusion / rage issues, but they bring in Lois Lane, who's his his
The
center,
big
his
guns, yeah.
baseline, and they go away, and that's a nice scene. I love the relationship that Lois, especially this Lois and this Superman have, and I love how they reconnect, and she just brought him back to Earth, so to speak, and quite literally, because that's what she is. She's the human that makes him part of this society in a real way. So now we've got Superman back. Now we've got the Flash, we've got Aquaman, who I still don't really care about. We've got Cyborg, who I still don't really care or understand about. But we've got Wonder Woman, who I love. We've got Superman that I love, and we've got Batman, who I'm like lukewarm on. But what started making me enjoy the movie was where the action sequences become entertaining at this point. Big, broad stuff that's kind of funny, kind of cool. They're using their powers together, and they're building a team. And that's the part of the movie that I think they really nailed. You see how they start to figure out, hey, we need to work together to make this happen. And the Flash uses his powers to support, Superman and to support, Batman in certain cases. And you see how Cyborg and Aquaman work together, to defeat people. And just the emotional part where you see how Wonder Woman is realizing from Batman that while he brought the team together, she needs to be the leader. And we know why, because Batman is getting past his prime, and because he is just a guy who has been able to do amazing things so far, but we're fighting things beyond his control. So he's an important instrument to bringing these guys together, but really he's passing the torch reluctantly and humbly, which is not in his character. He's passing the torch to other people to say, you guys need to do the legwork here because I'm not capable. And Wonder Woman really kind of gets past her own personal demons and says, no, I will lead a team because some people might die, but it's important. And this is my calling, and this is what I'm meant to do. And they come together and they make it happen. So I saw the team. I saw it work. I saw it forming, and that was a success. And that was the first time in a DC movie in a long time outside of Wonder Woman where I'm like, hey, they nailed this. This group came together and they did what they intended to do, and the parts made sense, and they have camaraderie now, and I could enjoy this going forward. I could.
You see exactly that in the scene where they show up to fight Steppenwolf in Russia or wherever they were. And Batman says, all right, here's the plan. You guys are going to go do that. I'm going to go do something else. And then he takes off. He set them up because he knows they're going to survive. He's going to sacrifice his life to take down the dome and to get the parademons away from them so that they have a chance at doing what they're doing.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And that's the moment that Wonder Woman says, no, this is not a democracy. You are not in charge. You didn't want to lead this. You don't get to lead this. And she tells everybody else what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And they rescue Batman, and then they save the world.
I still kind of see
Clark Kent spent way too much time getting back to his roots and finding a new suit, and then I'm sure he banged Lois for a while because he was faster than the Flash, so there's no reason they should have gotten to Russia before him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he had a sandwich. I don't know.
He was getting ready.
But he was late. He was late.
talking to his mom. Yeah, he had to. They had to sew the new suit to him,
right?
But yeah.
But at the end, you see it. You see them come together, and I start to think, okay, if they made another one of these, I like this team. I'm not really invested in all of the characters individually per se. So if they wanted to kill off Aquaman, I wouldn't care. But I like this team. I like what they've become. I like the sacrifices that everybody's willing to make for the team. And that, to your point, Kevin, Batman goes on his own. And they're like, no, dude, you may not think you're part of this, but you are, and we care about you. And that's
cool.
cool.
You die that easy.
So speaking on that whole Batman sort of ending scene, I see that as character development for everybody else except Batman. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I'm going to feel about Batman going forward because he's still in his head that he has to do this alone. He still sees this as him trying to do something, but not as a team. So going forward, we're going to have to see a lot more Batman doing something or changing somehow, or if we ever going to see it, or if he, going forward, since we're thinking about Jake Gyllenhaal, maybe he's just like, I'm not fit for this anymore, or I'm not, fit for this team.
And I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because that was the statement. I think that was less of a selfish thing. it was more of a selfless thing, thinking,
Yeah.
saying, listen, my purpose in life has been this one thing, and I don't know if I can do it anymore. These are
guys-
the guys that are capable of doing it, so I can help them, and if I have to give my life to do so, then that's the ending of my purpose here. You
Yeah.
know, who
He's
are my
basically
other
like, You guys didn't
relationships?
see this, but when I let that criminal go for no reason at the beginning of this movie, I got fucked up by that parademon. Like I almost
Yeah.
lost that fight.
Yeah.
He's like, so there's a million of them. I can't do this. I'm gonna die, and I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. Like you guys got this. You don't need me. You're right. It was selfless, not selfish. I don't think he was looking for glory. I think he was looking to help, and that was the way he thought he could do it.
And who are his, what's his purpose for living anyways? He doesn't have a girl. That was always one of his main motivations before.
Robin hates him, or is dead,
or is
or
dead,
I don't
something
know.
like
Or
that.
something.
We don't
I mean,
know.
you got
We don't
Alfred, but whatever. We all agree Alfred's terrible. So he said, this is it, man. Like I'm fine with this. Let's let them go do their thing. And he was letting Wonder Woman take control, which right now, outside of this movie, outside of the context of this movie, is the smartest thing that DC could have done. Because Wonder Woman is, I mean, The Flash was awesome, but Wonder Woman at this point is by far their best character and clearly their most bankable character. So that's the
yeah.
smartest thing they could have done, is to hand over the reins of this whole thing and make her the most prominent person in the universe. Make her the Tony Stark.
prominent one.
Yeah.
Give her a different director to direct her and get her shots right, and we're all good.
The only other question I'm going to ask, and then we're going to wrap this up. How, and I want you to give me an answer on this, both of you. Tim, let's ask you first.
Okay.
Tim, how are they going to explain that Clark Kent is alive?
What do
Go
you
ahead.
mean?
Well, so we have this Batman v Superman fight, and then they fight Doomsday, and Doomsday kills Superman, right? So Superman is dead. The world knows Superman is dead. The world's in mourning with Superman, and then they have an open casket funeral for Clark Kent.
Sure. So
Now
do
Clark
we
Kent
need
is
Clark
alive.
Kent anymore?
I'm not sure, but here's the thing:
He was in
Superman
his-
comes back,
yeah.
and there's a bunch of police around, and then Amy Adams, Clark Kent's girlfriend, shows up and starts yelling "Clark" to the floating guy that looks like Superman, who also happens to look like Clark Kent. And Clark comes down, and she says, "Clark Kent, don't do this. You're a bad boy." And she whaps him on the nose with a newspaper, and then they fly away. And then they fly to Clark Kent's family home that Batman then purchases an entire bank to give him. And that's it. Like, Clark Kent is then moving into this home. It's not Superman. He's not wearing his super suit. It's Clark Kent.
Well,
And
he needs to be himself. You know what I mean? Like, just as a person, I think he
Yeah.
needs to be Clark Kent. But I don't think the alter ego matters anymore. So I don't know that this is going to be something that they need to explain away. It's just going to be like, hey, Superman's back alive, and he's this guy. Like, I don't think the alter ego thing needs to exist anymore, except for his own personal normalness.
Jules, rebuttal?
I don't know. He's just gonna live his life. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna go back and do any work or anything. But
See, that's the smart answer.
yeah, he's a direction.
That's not the answer DC's going to give us.
Oh,
Right.
no,
that would be
not
the
at all.
Marvel answer, but not
because
the DC
because
answer.
it
Oh,
was
and that is the Marvel answer. Iron Man admitted at the end of the first movie, Tony Stark said, "I am Iron Man,"
Yeah,
and they
right.
didn't walk that back.
Right.
no.
I mean, you're not wrong. That is exactly what it should have been. Where in a DC movie, in the next movie, they'd have someone walk in and go, "I'm Iron Man," and then you'd have like a Life of Brian moment, or they're all screaming, "I am Spartacus," and it just doesn't work.
No, and
So I don't know.
it was the resurrection of Clark Kent that they did, which is kind of weird. Like I don't know what this thing is. I still see him as Superman, but it was sort of they were resurrecting Clark Kent, and in all the references that it is the resurrection of Clark Kent, and then Superman comes later because
Right.
I don't know. It's all super weird, and I'm sure they're gonna give us a weird answer to that. And
Yeah,
it's not
I mean, the
gonna
secret
be favorable.
identities are not secret. Superman was standing there again. The cops are all around, and he's like, "Bruce Wayne, why did you do this to me?" And the Aquaman's walking through Aquaman Town with Bruce Wayne going, "So you dress like
Aquaman
a bat,
Town.
huh?" And everyone's like, "Who's this asshole?" I don't know. I just feel like none of it really,
No.
Batman was so secretive of his identity, he would murder anyone that found out. So now he has to murder Aquaman's favorite town.
Well, those people are so disconnected. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, and well, actually, I have two things that I want to talk about before we wrap up. It's gonna be really quick. There was a comment from the subreddit from Radia Throw Up Away, something like that, and they mentioned the music. It was a huge letdown. I had a number of issues with it. It was mediocre, evoked no emotions. A part of the movie was scored really bad. Most of all, I was saddened because they did not build on the great music Zimmer had created in the past movies. For example, consider the Wonder Woman's Wrath theme, which I did not hear even once. The music can be single, blah, blah, blah. They failed at quality control. If it's not up to the mark, don't release it, rescore. I think most of the criticism for this movie was because people didn't feel great watching it, which is really due to the bad music. Danny Elfman is a fantastic composer, and he's been composing music for superhero movies for a really long time, and he's one of the more prominent composers out there next to Hans Zimmer. And I don't think he did a bad job. I don't think that was the reason that this movie's bad. You're trying to blame it all on the music. And no, we heard themes. He even said beforehand that he was going to bring back the themes of these characters, bring back Superman's theme. I heard Wonder Woman's theme in there a few times. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe it's a different theme from Wonder Woman's Wrath, but I heard some really good themes in there. And the music, I don't think, had that big of a play as they're trying to make it. And I heard a lot of people shitting on Danny Elfman as a composer as well, DC fanboys, for some reason. And I wanted to know what y'all's thoughts, a quick thought about the music. I don't know. Have y'all had any?
Good music in a movie you don't notice. Bad music you do. I didn't notice this. I think it was fine.
Yeah.
I think it worked.
I think fine music you don't notice. Like, and that's what this was. I thought the same thing, Kevin. Like,
sure.
I didn't notice it,
that's
but
fair correction.
there are themes that make me love a movie too, and it certainly didn't have that.
Sure.
And I kept hearing it a little bit, and I just love the Superman theme so much. I just am in like, that's one of my all-time favorite, and I kept hearing it, and I'm like, dun, 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 and I just wanted to go, bum, 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 like just, it was just so close to, I just wanted Superman so bad.
They were like, why doesn't he make his own original stuff? I'm like, because it's the nostalgia of Superman, it's the nostalgia of Batman. These are the characters, these are their themes.
Right.
Of course he's going to bring them back. Why not?
Superman, like, Superman because of John Williams wrote that original score.
Yeah.
And Superman because of that music. Like, if I was just walking down the street and all of a sudden out of nowhere I heard bum, 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 I'd be looking for Superman. Like, I would genuinely believe that Superman was real, It's just, it's that identifiable and that iconic with that character, and really one of my favorite movie themes of all time. So yeah, I thought the music was fine. I never noticed.
Yeah.
Didn't really come into play for me at all.
Yeah, definitely agree. It was fine. There wasn't any new things, but I think it was a challenge for him to try and put all these things together to make it tangible. But a lot of people are shitting on the music, and that's something I wanted to hear y'all's thoughts. Last thing, what are we going to give this movie for our rating, and any final thoughts? We usually rate the movies. If you haven't heard before, we rate them from 1 to 10. Usually on the scale we had 4 as Ghost in the Shell, what we watched earlier this year. And then now the new top is 11 or 12, which is the Thor Ragnarok movie. And 10 is Guardians of the Galaxy. We kind of rank all that. So where do we put this film on the scale?
I give it a 7. It has potential. It's not terrible. I think that's fair.
Yeah, 7. Right on the nose, Kev.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to say a 5 because I found it kind of boring for the first half, and I did check my phone twice during the first half, and I usually bump them down by how many times I check my phone.
I didn't check my phone even once, although there was a little girl in front of me who watched Moana throughout most of the movie, and I did find parts of that more entertaining.
Nice.
I checked my phone a couple of times because I just, I wanted to know at what mark the whole back and forth jumping around between stories finally ended. It was about 35, 40 minutes. That's all I wanted to know is, like, okay, if I'm going to pop in and see a little bit of this at work, when should I go? 35 to 40 minutes in is when it really started to get pretty good. But I didn't feel like it was too long or boring. It was just tedious at that point.
Yeah, even though it was only less than 2 hours, it did seem a little long for me for some reason.
It dragged on
It
forever.
dragged
That
on.
was 2 hours of forever.
So yeah, I guess the average of about 6 plus for Justice League. Let us know your thoughts. Were we wrong? Did we not talk about anything? Let us know. You can reach us on any social media, pretty much at Nerdy Things Pod, Nerdy Things POD. You can send us an email if you like long form talking, nerdythingspod@gmail.com, or you can text us or call us if you want to reach us that way, and we'll read your texts or play your voicemails. 978-78-NERDY, 978-786-3739. And that's how you say that. You can visit our website, nerdythingspod.com, for the latest nerdy news, daily links to our merch. We have a bunch of nerdy stuff over there on our merch store. We have holiday stuff. We have a new design, like I said, that's dropping today. No more Flashpoint, because we do not want Flashpoint again in another movie. Let's get something original or something. I don't know if he has anything cooler. We can do something. But there's a design out there. No more Flashpoint on our merch, releasing today. Go check it out. And I think when we first release it, it's only $14 as a shirt. So you have a few days to pick that up.
So get on that quick.
Get that. And there's going to be Black Friday discounts as well going on at our merch store.
And Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like a big guy with like, let Thanksgiving have its time. You know, Christmas doesn't get to begin until Thanksgiving's had its moment. But by the time you're listening to this, Thanksgiving moment will have passed. So it is time to think about your Christmas parties and how you will wear a Nerdy Things Podcast Christmas shirt.
Yeah, you can get all of these
go.
designs as a cool long sleeve. And that's kind of like a sweater. You might as well get a Nerdy Things Pod sweater going. You can, again, at our website, nerdythingspod.com, you can watch the podcast episodes because we do it on YouTube as well. Patreon for extra content and bloopers and a ton of stuff. Go to there, nerdythingspod.com. That's where we
And be on the look for the YouTube, guys, the YouTube, because we're old. But because we have some stuff in the works. That's all I'm going to say.
Some more
We've got
original
stuff in the works.
coming to YouTube. Go check it out.
Nice.
I'd like to thank Adipsia for the use of his song Friends Don't Let Friends Go to TGI Fridays. You can hear more of his music at adipsia.bandcamp.com. He just released a new album called Imbue.
Imbue.
And I'd like to thank the Bell Curve for the music we use under the main topic.
Right on.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
See you all next week.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.